Well, hi everybody. This is Amelia Vogler, grounding and energy medicine specialist, and your host for the Energy Magazine exclusive interview series. Today, I am speaking with Debra Reis. She's a clinical nurse specialist and certified clinical aromatherapist. She's been featured in USA Today, International Business Times, and she's so cool. She specializes in holistic supportive therapies, aromatherapy, relaxation techniques, movement therapies. She really started in the hospital system, but has taken her organizational perspective bigger and also deeper into what I would call everyday world, the everyday world. She teaches, has some really interesting programs that we're going to be talking about today, including her I-Step program, signature program, and also smaller classes that are, aromatherapy for cancer care, chakra healing, working with chaos. We all need that. Inflammation reduction. So we're just sitting with an integrative expert today. So Debra, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Amelia. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. So I have loved, absolutely loved going to your website and reading about the offerings that have clearly come through deep passion. And
Mhm.
so I would like to know a little bit about your history and who you are and how this wonderful integrative perspective that you carry has become such an impassioned outreach to others.
Yes, yes, thank you. Well, I started, my background was as a critical care nurse, and I can clearly remember the time when I was midway through setting up an IV. And it was like, there has got to be more to what I am doing
Mm.
than pharmaceuticals and putting pieces together. There's got to be more to nursing
Yeah.
and to caring. And again, like many of us, when you put that question out there, certain messages start coming through. And it was my first approach or first connection with therapeutic touch and then healing touch. And this was back in the late 90s. So not much was happening within healthcare or integrated therapies or things of that nature, but I was just intrigued, and it really like set something off within me. Like, I want to know more and I want to do more. And it was really for myself to begin with, because I was really feeling burned out. I was really questioning if I wanted to continue in my profession. And so I was really looking at, what do I need to do to bring myself back to balance and to get back into my heart,
Mm.
my heart, and the caring, which is why I went into this profession. And then that really opened up some new worlds, and I got introduced to, of course, different people, and it opened up aromatherapy to me. And that was intriguing. And I also got the message, pay attention. This is very important. And I've always been interested in movement and how it affects our whole body, not just as an exercise, but really, what does it mean for our whole being? And I've been dabbling in different types of modalities, throughout my life. And so I started to ask, how can I put these different modalities, these different ways of thinking and being, how can I start to integrate that into my life, into my lifestyle? Started to do that. And then it was like, how can I start to integrate this into my professional life,
Mhm.
into my health, into the healthcare system? And slowly, this has been, just things unfolding over the years, but it's really been amazing to see to present day. I still think we have a lot to do and a lot more to go, but where we have come in doing integrative modalities, different things from healing touch to aromatherapy to visualization guided imagery, many types of modalities that are within our system, as well as more of a holistic or integrative approach to planning care
Mhm.
for others or for ourselves. And now, as you mentioned in the bio, as far as taking that out more into organizations, because definitely we have people dealing with chaos and stress in many settings. Even just what's going on in our world can make it feel a little stressful, right?
Absolutely. And I think that that piece of planning that you're speaking to is really an interesting perspective
Mhm.
because it's not, what you were saying is it's the setup, not the doing. That's
Yes.
so interesting. And so when you start with an organization or a person, what do you listen for? And I'm asking so that we can sort of self-evaluate how
Yeah.
how am I going to plan my integrative day tomorrow?
Right.
Or, so what does that planning mean to you? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's great. Yes, for a person, it might be, what is your goal? I think a lot of times we start with that. What is your goal? What are you looking for? And what is your concern? What's really been a concern for you? And it might be they're dealing with anxiety because of a diagnosis or things happening, but maybe they're dealing with physical things like not getting enough sleep, which is a chronic thing within, our society. So looking at, okay, here's some options for you, but what speaks to you? Where do we start? Right? Because different things for different people. So it's nice to have different like options that we can provide so that you can start simple in weaving something in to your plan. So it's not giving a whole menu of things you need to do. That can be overwhelming. But let's start simple and you build upon that. And it's the same thing with an organization. It's what is your concern? What is your goal? And it might be we have a concern with high turnover. Or, okay, so what is it that your employees are looking for? Well, we are looking for more self-care. We are looking for more professional development. Well, let's look at how we weave now those options into that concern, because you have to address the pain point.
Yeah.
And it might be a recent organization I've been working with, or department, is they're dealing with, it's more of a younger workforce, and the words they're using is, we are dealing with a lot of burnout. And I can relate. That's how I got started.
Yeah.
So it's like we're dealing with burnout. So, okay, what can we do to help you deal with that burnout? Because if you're not helping you, then you're not going to be able to be of service for those that are part of your clients, your patients, whatever industry you might be in. But again, if you're not looking at your grounded, balanced, and in that place of peace, then you're not going to be, if your cup's not full, you're not going to be able to serve.
Yeah. I have like a million questions from just that. And I think that I want to go in the direction of burnout, which is a little surprising, but I feel like that you could offer us such a gift because I'm noticing even in my own self how fast the energies are moving around us, how chaotic things are, that I
Absolutely.
can see how not planning to take care of myself in a different way could really contribute to burnout. So, what are some of your favorite strategies that you could offer, or one or two, just for
Yeah.
any of us that are struggling under burnout big B or burnout little b?
Right, right. Well, some of my favorite tools for me, and there's of course different options, but I I encourage people who are really looking at what can I do for myself. I really encourage people to start your day with really getting focused and balanced. That might be, maybe I spend a minute and I do a breathing exercise where I'm setting my intention for myself for the day. Maybe it's I use that breathing with some aromatherapy. And then I have my aromatherapy with me throughout the day to remind me of my intention that I have set.
Oh, that's lovely.
And perhaps it's something some people might do, like a little bit of meditation, reading, affirmations or scripture or something of that nature to help them stay in to get started. I like doing that at least in the beginning of my day. You can go anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how you want to set it up for yourself. But I really encourage people to do something to really set their intention, really breathe in, and then to have that reminder. It could be the aromatherapy. Another tool I like is maybe to have my hand on my heart center, really breathe in my intention, and then maybe throughout the day, when I feel myself getting balanced or caught up in that chaotic energy, it's just a breath and hand to heart as a reminder to come back to that place of peace. And again, seconds, just
Yeah.
the seconds to do that. But again, it's learning, okay, that's the tool that speaks to me, why it speaks to me, and how it can help me throughout my day.
That why piece is really important.
Yes,
I can feel that in, the why is the meaning, and then we bring our soul into it. And
yes.
so it's not just the, oh, well, it's 8 a.m. I'm going to do the thing.
Yes, yes. Oh, it's part of my day. Yeah, check, check.
Yeah,
No, it's more than that. It's really, like you said, I like that word, the meaning. It really has a meaning to you. If it doesn't, you're not going to do it.
yeah, yeah, you're right about that, Deborah. And I'm also noticing as you're speaking, you have this incredible gift of transmitting not just the information, but you're very clear and regulated and balanced in your own self. And I just wonder how, when you go and speak to organizations, how do you shift your language, or is it the same, or, what are you looking for in those conversations with your bigger organizations? What are those conversations like? It might not be when you wake up in the morning, but what?
Right. Right. Well, it really, again, it's that does take some planning.
Uh-huh.
And again, going back to what is your concern? What is your pain point? And speaking to that pain point. Now, I may still use the same modalities, plan, but I am using the language that is their concern. So
Mhm.
if it's the burnout, I'm talking about how breathing, how an aromatherapy, how combining these tools for yourself, learning about that, and then integrating that for yourself or to help someone else can help you in renewing your energy, renewing your spirit. For
Yeah.
another group, it was professional development. That was their focus. So we talk about how are these tools helping enhance what you can do for your own development and to enhance your own professional experience and how you're presenting, yourself to others and to each other, and looking at how you, and then for the managers or for the administrators, it's how are we building this team cohesiveness? Because that might be a different language, as far as when you're talking with people who are in the trenches, so to speak, or people who are in the administration. The language there, no matter whether we like this or not, you have to talk dollars. And so I have to talk about if we can save this person from leaving your organization, your department, you are saving X amount of dollars. And that translates to hundreds of thousands of dollars in an organization. So that you have to speak the language, like you were saying, how do you speak it? You have to speak the language of the people that you're discussing or talking with, and that can be different depending on what group I'm speaking to.
Yeah, and in that, what you shared were different success stories.
Yes.
You
Hmm.
know, um, increase in your ROI,
Yes.
reduced burnout. So what else are you seeing as the benefits of bringing an integrative perspective into these organizations?
Well, into organizations from the staying with the workforce, we're seeing that we can reduce turnover. We're seeing, we're even looking, I think this is very exciting. We are looking at how can we integrate these certain tools, these plans as part of a wellness initiative for employees, for people who are working in these departments. That wellness initiative is empowering. And if we can empower people, then they are more likely to have greater team cohesiveness. They're more likely to stay with this organization because they feel cared for. They feel like they're being valued. And their health is being valued because these initiatives are open for them. What we are seeing, and of course that can lead to reduced turnover, reduced burnout, happier, greater satisfaction and all of that goes with it. So that can be huge amount as far as what we're talking with return, of your investment. From a client patient side, huge benefits we're seeing, even for employees, because we do not just patients in the one organization I work with. We're not just doing patients, we're also doing the employees who work in that department. So, we have seen many benefits for patients. It's just it's idea that I can do something, I can be in control. Number one, huge. When you have a diagnosis like a cancer diagnosis and you feel like you have no control, now we're saying, here's some things that might be beneficial for you and why, what speaks to you? How can we get started? And that is huge that they can have a voice in that. And then just seeing those benefits, anything from, I've had people say, this has really saved my life.
Oh, wow.
That's huge. Huge. And they shared that with their physician. I want you to know this saved my life, and this is why I felt it saved my life. I was able to get my head back together. I was able to, we have seen pain reduced. We have seen nausea. We've seen symptoms, people just feeling more like they have more of a well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just generally, that's going to be emotionally better for them. And if you're an emotionally better place, that's definitely going to go to your immune system and physical well-being and spiritual well-being. So it definitely is more of a whole mind, body, spirit connection.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm curious about, some of these classes, the I-STEP
Yeah.
program. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
could tell us a little bit about that. And thus far, we've been speaking a little about organizations or clinical settings. A lot
Right.
of us watching are, small entrepreneurs that maybe have a small team. So is
Yes.
there overlap or, benefit to kind of go through
Yes.
this system just for, little old us, if you will?
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's where I started. I started with myself and my colleagues, like, hey, let's look at this and let's start here. And really, I look at everything. I feel it's important too that we do see that there's evidence behind this.
Mhm.
There is science, there's a science or history behind this, behind the different tools that we might be using. And for ISTEP, which stands for Integrative Supportive Therapy Engagement Program, I know it's a long one, but ISTEP, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like step forward. Let's do the next, what's the next step? Everything is in what I put into three categories or three pillars. I have a relaxation pillar, which includes modalities like energy therapy and visualization guided imagery and more, and how you can learn those tools. So for for everyday
Yeah.
person or small teams, things like that, how we can use these relaxation tools, why they're important, what's their science or evidence behind them, and then how can I integrate this for myself, my team, and then I take it one more step how do we do this quickly? Because many of us are dealing with time crunches, or we're dealing with a lot of things that, a lot of things that are flowing in our environment. How can I do this in 5 minutes or less? And I think that's really a big key in many places and for many people. Because even
Yeah.
if you're working from home, you are juggling family and other things that are happening. And sometimes it's like, okay, which direction do I go? And it's like, all right, I've got a minute. I need to come back to this tool that is going to help me, this piece. I have the other pillar is aromatherapy,
Hmm.
and another one, gentle movement therapy. And with aromatherapy, we look at how does it affect your immune system? That's for everybody. If you
Yeah.
can learn different aromas that I know are going to be beneficial to my immune system, they've been studied for that.
Hmm.
Now, how do I use it quickly for myself or for my family or for my team? So definitely that can be, and using it safely.
Yeah.
That's big with aromatherapy, is using it safely. And then movement, because that's, I think, a huge piece that we oftentimes miss. And oftentimes it's the first to go when we get really, really busy.
Yeah.
And how it doesn't have to be going to a gym. I mean, that's great if you want to do that, but simple stretching and different ways to stretch, and just taking a minute even at the top of every hour to stand up, stretch in a different way, doing spinal undulations, things of that nature to keep things really loose. But also, what's happening when you do that? Those good feeling endorphins, chemicals in our body are being released, and it helps us get more alert. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can tend to get caught in a project on a computer, and
Oh,
all of a
yeah.
sudden it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And I have to get up, and you go, I've been sitting too long. And so it's, even some people will put a little timer, so every hour it's like, breathe, get up, stretch. So again, that's something that we can remind our team. And we have done that even in smaller departments, where we might have a little, what we call happy feet or get moving,
Uh-huh.
where if you're able to, you get up off your chair and you just kind of tap your feet a little bit, maybe wiggle your hands a little, just to get up and remind your body to, we were not meant to sit and to be stationary. Our bodies are built to move. So it just is kind of a reminder. So you can do that. And people have gotten real creative with, even in small departments, about getting up and having a little fun. And that's what it is.
So I guess those people watching now could be a good time to keep watching and get up at
Get up.
get up and watch the rest at the same time.
Right.
So you gave us some really lovely sort of beginning the day planning perspectives. What about a safe aromatherapy practice? Like, could you give me an example of what you mean by introducing aromatherapy as a tool throughout the day?
Yes, yes. I really love doing aromatherapy inhalation. Inhalation, don't underestimate your nose. When
Oh,
you're
yeah.
breathing something in, it's going right into our brain.
Yeah.
So number one, you have to make sure what you're breathing in, no matter what it is something that is good for your body.
Hmm.
So perfumes, things of that nature, they contain toxins.
Yeah.
And when you're breathing that in, that's going right into our brain and into our whole system. So making sure you have a good quality aromatherapy. And I just like even putting it right on a tissue. This is a great way to use it. Or if you have an inhaler, like an aroma stick, but I might just put something right on the tissue, breathe it in as part of my morning practice. And then I have this with me that I can just put in a pocket, tuck in a bra strap or something like that, and breathe it in through the day. Just reminds me of a story. I had she was a student, and also somebody who was going through chemotherapy and would get very nauseous with her medication. So she found something that helped her nausea. It was something that had a little bit of ginger and fennel, and it was a blend of different things. But she did that. She had it on a little tissue and, put it inside her bra so that she could smell it through the day. And she went to her doctor's office and they had to, do a little check and stuff. And immediately they're like, "What is that?" So
Cute.
she's like, "It's staying because it's helping me out." But again, it's like it generated a conversation
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that really is very beneficial for you." And they're like, she goes, it's not leaving because it is helping me stay very, calm. It's calming me. And they're like, "Okay." But they had no idea of that. And they could smell it too,
Mm.
once they were near her. So it's just something that, we can teach by example.
Yeah.
When you're breathing something in and you're like, "Well, this is helping me." And it's very quick, something I can do. And others will also see that and they will see how you're acting and behaving. And that's how my colleagues got interested. They
Hmm.
saw what I was doing and they're like, "I'm not so sure about that." But as they started doing things, they started having their own results and seeing it in other people as well.
That story reminds me of something that you said earlier about how these programs that you have created are empowering.
Hmm.
That this is because that story was about this woman saying, "No, I'm claiming this is mine,
Yes.
this is important to me." And
Yes.
that sense of control, self-control, empowerment in the presence of chaos or
Right.
disorganization. It's, what I've heard over and over in our conversation is what you're offering us are not just a collection of wonderful integrative tools, but little vehicles that help you stand in the integrity of who you are.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. It very much is about standing in your truth
Mhm.
and being and having that be part of who you are, which is empowerment.
And
And
wouldn't we all like that? Like that for ourselves, but I'm thinking of the three women I have on my team
yeah.
who, they have young children. One of them
Yes.
is really far away, and I would want nothing more than to have them with the skills to take really good care of themselves and show up in a meeting with me and say, "Oh, hold on, you know what? I'm feeling stiff. I need to get up and move." Yes, please.
Yeah. Yes.
Take good
And
care of yourself. I want that
yes.
for my community, my people.
Right. And that reminded me too. I have a person who helps me with different, an assistant who helps with different social media things and things like that. And so I had given a tip about movement, getting outside and just breathing and just being connected. And she shared the story. If that's what she did. She has two small children. They were a little bit crazy, and she took sometimes I know that can
Right.
happen.
Yeah.
She said, "I took myself outside with my children, but while they were doing their thing, she was like, just breathe in the nature, the air." She goes, "I took the tip you provided, on media
Yeah.
and used it." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, just in a matter of 5 minutes, I was back into feeling very renewed and energized and ready to continue with my day."
Yeah.
So, and just having that tool to help her get grounded. So you're right. It can just be something that's simple in an everyday family where it's like, "Okay, I need to just step away and do something to help me get back into my place of being connected
Yeah.
and renewed."
It also, as you were sharing that story, made me aware that I think one of the gifts that you're offering is the blend of the masculine doing and the
Hmm.
feminine nurture. And,
Yeah.
to be in balance means that we are looking for ways to be both productive and supported. And
Yes.
it sounds like the way that you have brought the integrative perspective helps us be more of that. And isn't that what we're all really looking for individually and in
Right,
terms of team management or organizational management. You've
right.
really cultivated an incredible
Thank you.
perspective.
Yes, thank you for yes, and that's because I think you're right. I think, we are our society really has a lot of focus on productivity,
Yeah,
but we have to remind ourselves and remind each other that if we are not renewing ourselves, if we are not filling ourselves, then we can really get out of balance very quickly.
yeah,
Being caught up in that productivity world. And this is just as important, that nurturing, that taking care of, because and I think oftentimes as women too, that's been kind of in our role and maybe what we've been fostered, as part of growing up, and just to make sure it's not being, that we're not being, I'm trying to think of the right word, that, we are giving of ourselves, and we are not to be sacrificing ourselves,
yeah,
and we are to be nurturing ourselves if we are to be a good steward, a good role model for others. That is a good role model,
yeah,
showing that we are caring for ourselves.
absolutely. Well, Deborah, how do we find out more about you? Where where would we go? How would we get in touch with you?
Yes, thank you. You can go to my website. That's a great place to start. And it's my name, Debra, Debra, and then my last name,
Uh-huh.
Reis.com. So that's a great place. It's some of the courses that you mentioned earlier, are identified on there. But also my email is there, which is Debra Reis at gmail.com. So it's, yeah, try to make it simple as I can, but please reach out if you have any questions, want to know more about what is out there, what's offered, or how to use things. Be happy to connect and chat about some, ideas.
Thank you, Deborah. It's just been such a pleasure talking with you and getting to know a little bit about your offering in the world. I bow to
Well,
you.
thank you for taking time and connecting with me. I really appreciate it.
Until the next time.
Yes.